Hello everybody, it's your pal Tazo Mogas. This is a little bit of a longer form video explaining why you should attend our next spring networking event. So a little bit of promo, if you don't mind. And I've always believed that in Canada, we need to promote ourselves, okay? Because the economy is changing, as you know, and everyone, whether you're in Canada, whether you're in different countries, different continents, it's becoming a situation where we need to promote ourselves and we need to lift each other up rather than tear each other down. And what I've found is whether it's an Ethiopian thing or a North American thing, I've never been able to figure it out. But really, to be honest, why something is happening is not really as important as how do we fix it. You know, in business, in life, in a job, you're paid to deliver solutions. So whether you're self-employed or employed, you get paid for solutions that people can't or unwilling to do themselves, to achieve themselves. So I really believe that information is like oil and gas that goes into your car. If you don't have oil, you don't have gas, petroleum. You don't have petroleum, your car doesn't move. So it's the same like that. There's so much information, and 10 years from now, there will be even more information coming from this artificial intelligence and coming from ourselves because we can communicate from distance. That's the best thing about the internet, is that you can see exactly what you want, whatever you're searching for, directly online. But can you trust the information, and is it relevant to your needs and to your wants? That's the biggest question, and that's what I'm really trying to solve here with East Africa Showcase. And of course, I'm trying to promote the culture as well, because I come from a country, Ethiopia, as you know. Whatever economic problems you're having here, okay, multiply that by 100 or maybe 1,000,000 times in terms of the agony and just the absolute brutal economics of Ethiopia and the rest of Africa and many countries in Asia. Okay, so it's not only Ethiopia, but you know, whenever I'm having a bad day, I just think about like how different my life would have been if I was born in Ethiopia. I might not even be alive. Okay, I might not even be alive today at 31 years old if I was in Ethiopia, because it really depends on your family. If your family takes care of you, you might have a chance to survive in Ethiopia. If you get abandoned, you have nothing, then you're always going to have nothing. Okay, you're born in that country, you'll be deceased in that country as well, just like any other country. That's why, I mean, the whole world wants to be in North America primarily for safety and for a shot, for an opportunity. So, you know, there's a big discussion on immigration. How many people should we let into the country? Which countries should be allowed to come in? Then there's a religious question as well. You know, this country has always been religiously diverse, okay? If you go back 150 years ago, I'm telling you. But of course, we were talking about Christianity and the different types of Christianity. I'm not an expert on religion, okay? I'm not an expert on religion. Don't ask me about religion. But information. Every day is a new day to receive information and to express your views. But with the internet, if everyone is behind a screen and communicating by screens, you know, what is the purpose of a computer or a smartphone? You either receive information from it or you express information from it, just like I guess I'm expressing myself in this video. But finding relevant information that you can trust and that you can act upon is so important. So I think the networking events can provide that to people. Care prevents crisis, okay? It's very, very hard to respond to a crisis after the fact, okay? You're going to be scrambling all over the place, and, you know, it's a big problem. Like, have you ever heard the expression, a pound of prevention is worth, a gram of prevention, a gram of prevention is worth a pound of cure. And that's so true. It's so true. You gotta really get involved before you make the decision to act. Gather as much information as possible from as many sources as possible. I'm one source, okay? East Africa Showcase is one source of information, one source of perspective. But you should always look at different views, okay, from different countries. Just like the economy, there's a big country, a big question of, can the United States make everything that is purchased within the United States in the United States using American labor? And I think the Americans know themselves that that is not possible. That is not possible. This smartphone that we're looking at, that I'm looking at right now, believe it or not, it has a lot of US parts. The glass on every single phone, at least I know iPhone, comes from Corning glass in Kentucky. So every single phone, every single watch, every single iPad, every single whatever, the glass is made in the United States. Because if you made everything in China, then of course people would just copy it. China is a huge place, 1.5 billion people. Even the labor force itself, I think, is around 700 or 775 million. This is on the CIA fact book. 770, well, let's say 700 million. That's the entire population of North America, United States, Canada, Mexico combined. Combined, that's China. And of course, there are other countries in Asia as well. Southeast Asia, there's Vietnam, there's many other countries, Cambodia, Indonesia. These are talented people in these countries. So, the idea that you're not going to tap in and you're not going to reach out, these are people that they create electronic equipment, they create computers as a hobby. They love it. You try to find somebody to assemble a computer here, you'll be searching your whole life. Okay, people don't like it. So, I think tapping into the talent, the global talent, if this is what people want to do, and this is what people are bringing to market, we should allow everyone to participate. But is there a question of the United States, can they import everything from China? Is that sustainable? And why doesn't China import more from the United States? That's also a big question. I don't even know how I got on the question of politics, but Canada is like, besides China, Canada is the country that is taking the most impact, economic impact, because right now we have a 35% tariff on Canadian exports to the United States that are not covered by USMCA. As you know, it used to be NAFTA, North America Free Trade Agreement. Now it's the USMCA. You know what they removed? They removed the word free. Okay, they removed the word free from free trade agreement. Now it's agreement. And we'll see. Nobody knows in 6 months whether the USMCA is going to exist. It's probably going to exist. It's probably going to exist because NAFTA was ratified by Congress and United States is ratified by Congress as well. So you need Democrat votes. So Trump cannot, no matter what he says, he said it the first time too, I'm going to rip up NAFTA. It's never going to be 100% tariff on all Canadian products going into the United States. But the reality is there's no other country that Canada will export more to than the United States. And that will be true 25 years from now as well. Okay, because they made a deal with China, Carney, more EVs. That's for the affordability of Canadians of electric vehicles in Canada. And they put a limit on it. So I wonder how that limit is going to work. And if there's a lot of demand, if the cars sell out, whatever cars, I'm assuming China is going to send their best electric vehicles to Canada. And if they're all sold out, then the pressure is going to be on the Canadian government to lift the cap on electric vehicles. And we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with that. Carney clearly has a different view than Ontario Premier. Oh man, I love politics. I love politics because those who do not care about politics will be governed and ruled by those who do. That is from Plato, I think. That's from many, many centuries ago, but it's so, so true, okay? You can't, going back to care prevents crisis, if you don't care now, and then if you figure out your government was corrupt all along, or, not representing your interests, then you can't complain after election day, oh, why did this happen? Or, protesting. If protesting worked, if protesting had an effect on government policy, the government wouldn't allow you to protest. for whatever reason, whether it's the Middle East, whether it's back home, whether it's whatever. If they were going to respond to it, they would respond it, or they would never allow it. They would crack down. But of course, there's something called Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms, and the right to peacefully assemble. As you know, Iran is a big country. You know, very intelligent people in Iran, but different type of government. They're trying to overthrow the government. I won't even get into that, man. Let me stay on script here, because I have this device here to keep me on track. I don't like reading notes, but when I ramble, I usually talk about politics. So one thing we all have in common: we're not looking to waste time or money on things that we don't know and that we don't trust. Okay? So the first step to trusting something is to get to know something. So I always thought the networking events could be like a show and tell, a talent show, where you can show and tell your products, your services, and why someone should pay you for your services at the networking events. That's the main value of it. Of course, I'm unsuccessful to date in terms of getting a guest speaker that, of course, is not going to charge me $5,000 because I'm not charging. So how can someone charge me to be a guest speaker? So not charging, I mean admission fees. But the idea is, if they want to be sponsored, if they want to show and tell their products and services, they should be paying me. They should be sponsoring East Africa Showcase. So that's the idea, because in this environment, nobody's going to pay an admission fee. I said from the very, very beginning, because there were voices that were saying, oh, you need to charge, you need to make sure you make money, you know, whatever, charge $5, whatever. Okay, let's say we have 20 people at the networking event. What's 20 times 5? That's $100. I'm paying $100 for the room. And that's for like a little bit over 1 hour. I think 1 hour or 2 hours. Because they charge you for every single minute in Wellesley Community Center, but that's a different story. So 5 times 20, $100, we break even. All this work, get into this studio here, this beloved Fort York AV room. It's a small room, but I love this green screen here because you can change the colors. I like color. I'm a man of color. Today I presented myself in this cold February weather, trying to look spiffy for you. So, you know, thanks for watching. I appreciate you watching. But yeah, if people don't know you or trust you, they're not going to make a move to purchase from you, whether it's another business or whether it's someone in the audience. So yeah, but we're not looking to waste time. We're not looking to waste money. I always think, like, if I was in the audience, what would I expect from a networking event? I think I would expect someone who's knowledgeable, someone who's engaging, and of course, somebody who's speaking in a language I can understand. So that's another thing, of course. East Africa, I get knocked on it a lot for not doing this in Amharic, but there are many other associations that you can go to and they'll talk to you in Amharic, but is it useful? The information that they're communicating to you, is it useful? That's for you to tell me. But let's go to the next one. So yeah, when it comes to money, nobody knows how much money they're going to make in business. That's why I always say, don't quit your day job. No matter how bullish, no matter how optimistic you are on your business, never ever quit your day job, because it took you years. If you include the education, it took you years to get into the job that you have now. If you don't like the coworkers, you don't like whatever, the working conditions, of course you can change. But we're in an environment where nobody is investing besides the government. So most jobs that are people are working full-time hours in downtown Toronto are healthcare related jobs or education related jobs. Both state-sponsored, as you know, healthcare and education in this country, especially healthcare, 91.5 billion, state-sponsored free healthcare, as you know. So, and then there's also transportation, TTC, and then there's also, believe it or not, Toronto Community Housing, because I've been interacting with them a lot. I think they receive almost $1 billion for housing, not only Toronto Community Housing, but there are many different agencies that are fully funded by the municipal government or the provincial government or the federal government. But there's only one taxpayer, okay, that's paying the taxes for all those 3 levels of government. And yeah, they're the biggest sponsors. If you look at all the different festivals, local festivals, I think for Valentine's Day or Family Day, they have something in Brantford. Unfortunately, I'm going to the auto show, car show, Yeah, I'm recording this on Valentine's Day. I love the auto show. I love it. All the cars. It's basically a huge, gigantic showroom. Man, I love it. Whoever puts it on, I think they should charge more money for it. They only charge $20 entry fee. But yeah, it's a great time. It's a great time. I think they charge only $20 because the manufacturers, if they want to display their cars, of course, they are handling the cost of delivering the cars to downtown Toronto, Metro Toronto Convention Center. They're doing all of that. And then they're also paying whoever's the organizer of Canadian Auto Show probably thousands of dollars, maybe tens of thousands of dollars to showcase their cars there. So it's a promotional thing. A car show is promotional. That's why you only pay $20 to get in, because they get most of their money from the auto manufacturers. Yeah, Honda is not going to be there, unfortunately, and some others. I think Mazda is my car right now. They're not going to be on the car show. They were in the past. Before COVID, they were all over the auto show, but they haven't been there since. Anyways, should I continue with my notes? I think so. Yeah, positive cash flow is so important. So always have a limit, okay? You expect to make money, but no one can guarantee. There are no guarantees in life. Just like I can't guarantee that people are going to watch this video. People are only going to watch it if they want to watch it and then want to keep watching. If somebody says, I only speak Amharic, I don't speak English, okay, I mean, whatever. Why did you come here then? But that's a different question. Positive cash flow is so important. Even if it's a little bit of money, you always got to be positive, okay? Break even is not good enough, okay? You would never show up, you would never work 40 hours a week if you were just breaking even. You know, if your rent was $1,500 and you were getting paid $1,500 a month, you would probably never show up to that job. It wouldn't be enough. So it's the same in business, but how do you charge people? That is a big question. That is a big question. If you charge, you're going to have a smaller audience, or you might have no audience. Remember one thing, anything times zero is zero. Anything times zero is zero. So your house might be worth $1.9 million only if there's someone else there to buy that house for $1.9 million. Okay, so they're looking at the location, they're looking at the amount of space, and they're looking at the condition of the house, of course. But yeah, your house is worth $1.9 million if somebody else is paying for it. And the same in business. Your product, your service, your water bottle, or alcohol, if you sell alcohol, if you do haircuts, if you sell clothes, whatever. It's only worth whatever someone is willing to pay for it. Somebody sees the features, somebody likes the look of it, somebody knows the brand, they might pay. But the buyer always sets the prices. It's not the seller. The seller, your job is to bring a price that people can afford. You have two things in business. You have affordability and accessibility. Do people have the time and the energy to pay attention to what you're talking about? So that's why you need to be on the internet, because people are at home, people are consuming content on their phone, on their tablets, on their television. Most of YouTube right now is being over 50% is consumed on TV. That's why I said we need to be on YouTube. Instagram is not good enough. Not everyone's on Instagram. TikTok is good, but not good enough. Not everyone's on TikTok. There are some others that I'm not on. Snapchat probably would be good too, but content creation is not an easy thing. And of course, nobody's making any money. Whether you have 100 followers or 100,000 followers, trust me, don't think that people that have a lot of followers are making a lot of money. Okay? Yes, they're famous on the internet, they're well known, and that kind of raises the stakes, because if you ever close down your store, close down your restaurant, close down whatever, then it's going to kind of be embarrassing. I had all these people supporting me and now they're all gone. But it's okay. I'd much rather have, if I can get one person to watch this video, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. Having 20,000 followers is not really something I aspire to. Hopefully, if it happens, it happens. Posting pictures of travel and tourism, those are usually like Kim Kardashian. Why does Kim Kardashian have 500 million followers? You can answer that question, not me. But every decision to spend money starts with the heart. Okay, starts with the heart. Of course, you reach down to your, I guess the angle is not good enough for me to show you my pockets, but you start with your pockets, and ultimately that's where you're getting the money from. But every decision to spend begins with your heart. So it begins with your mind, and then goes to your heart. So you got to get on people's heart. People really need to love what you're doing in order to get 10 cents out of anybody, because nobody's trying to spend money. Everyone's living paycheck to paycheck, myself included. Myself included. Of course, you work a job because you need to. You need to be able to retain that cash flow. If I was loaded with money, I would never be concerned with paying $100 for a room. Maybe I would even rent out a hotel and pay $1,000 for a conference room, $1,000 per day. But I'm not at that point yet. I'm not at that point, so $100 it is. Part 2, and I'm going to close with this. The challenge we have is reaching interested people. Because in order to reach the people that are interested, you need to also reach the people that are not interested. Out of 1,000 people that view your content on social media, okay? My watch is going off. That means I'm over time. Out of the 1,000 people, you might get 10 people. Okay, what's 10% of 1,000? 100. That's pretty good. 100 out of 1,000, that's pretty good actually. But in order to get those 1,000 views, you got to pay Facebook and you got to pay these social media companies a lot of money, because otherwise, people are not going to see it. People can't respond to something that they don't see. That's why they make billions of dollars. I mean, Facebook makes billions of dollars. I think their stock price is way up. 2022, the whole company was collapsing. Now their stock price is way up because they're the best way to advertise on the internet. And the addiction of looking and scrolling through a phone when you're bored, that's when people are looking for new information, when they're scrolling social media. So, of course, if you pay them a lot of money, then you get a lot of views and a percentage. It's always a percentage of the people, of the viewers, that are going to respond favorably. And the biggest favor you can do for me is to show up to my event Monday, March 16, 2026, 7:30 p.m., Wellesley Community Center. It's going to be conversations that matter, topics that matter, and I'm adding something new. I'm adding something called discussion points. So discussion points, I have a news article that interests me, and then now what do you think about it, basically, to the audience. So the value is in the interaction of audience, content creator, I guess. It's kind of weird to call myself a content creator. But yeah, last time we did posters for the potluck. We had nice turnout for the potluck. I think the posters are the most effective way of doing things. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add a QR code to the poster so that people can find the link to a video very easily. Short video. I'm going to keep it a short video, so not this one. But yeah, I'm really learning a lot. I love the creative process of content creation, and this didn't work, so now I got to change this. Still no money, not a substantial amount of money flowing my way. But I think we're laying down the foundation, okay? It's just like building a house. Building a house, you got to buy all the parts. You got to buy the land first. You got to get the zoning laws to be approved to build this residential, because not all the land, even in the city of Toronto, there are commercial areas still that you cannot build a residential building. And actually, that's the hardest part. So getting the permits, and you got to pay a lot of money to lawyers and stuff to get the permit. And then you got to buy the parts. So in the process of building the house, and you got to buy the labor. You're not going to build a house all on your own. You're not going to do the electrical. The person that does the electrical work is not going to do the plumbing work. And the plumber is not going to do the concrete. And the roofer is not going to do the electrical work. Yes, so you have different specialties. And you pay people in advance before you even sold anything. It used to be a situation where it was pre-construction. The demand for housing exceeded the number of available homes or that were listed for sale at the time. Now it's a little bit of a different real estate market, as you know. So yeah, I like posters. To be honest, nobody wants to be overwhelmed with text messages and even emails. If you receive 20 emails a week from somebody, you're not going to read every single email. So it's got to be a diverse mix. It can't be only one pathway. But I like posters because somebody can be like, oh, this poster is here. I wonder what it's about. Maybe they're going on to wherever they're going, work or school. And when they come back, the poster will be there, and then they can scan, find my video, and I'll explain the value of the networking event to them. So yeah, I think that works because the people, once again, the interaction of scanning the QR code and watching something on your phone, I think that's going to work for us. In addition, of course, I'm going to do the social media. Of course, I'm going to try to do emails. I'm going to try to do text messages, but yeah, text messages are a little bit weird. Also, it can be random, like you only want to talk to me to sell me something. So maybe I'll lay off on the text messages, but I also have a WhatsApp group. Maybe you're a part of it. So I like to send updates on the WhatsApp group because, again, not everyone that's on WhatsApp is on Instagram, and not everyone that's on Instagram is on WhatsApp. So it's always good to have a diverse way of contacting people. So, but I think the posters are going to be effective, especially in getting new people to come. So I'm going to do a lot of posters. But yeah, I think that's the end of my notes. I thank you so much for watching. Of course, here we are, Fort York Library. Tesoro Mogas. You can call me Tez. You can call me Tesoro. You can call me Tezara. If you like that Habesha pronunciation, you can call me whatever you like. I'm flexible on the name. But please join us if you can make it. Monday, March 16, 2026. Other than that part, I'm doing this all from my mind. So, it's a hard thing because you have so many things you want to say off the camera. And then once you're being recorded, it's like, have you ever had the feeling that you're being watched and that makes you uncomfortable? But the only way to get better at making videos is to make videos and publish them. So I thank you so much for watching. Hope to see you soon. Hope to see you on Monday, March 16. Bring a friend with you. Bring a family member with you. It's March break. So, you kind of don't have an excuse if you live in the area. If you're looking for something to do with your child, come to Wellesley Community Center, 495 Sherburne Street. I'll be there. Thank you very much. Thanks for watching to the end. I appreciate it. Thank you.